Seems that we're taking a temporary break from the SpongeBob universe and moving on to a more underrated and overrated gem of a character, Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron is a boy genius who usually partakes on thrilling adventures, usually when things go wrong, this usually stemming from the cataclysmic backfires from his inventions. In this case, his friends Carl and Sheen usually tag along to help Jimmy in his daily quest to stop a monster from terrorizing Retroville, or just hanging out like regular friends do, if they're lucky. He also has a pet robot dog named Goddard, and you will see why I mention Goddard, as he will play an important role in this showcase later on. Now, before I get started with the analysis, I'll have to be honest with this showcase. Something I've noticed after I reacted to the movesets is that the narrator only covered the most prominent and useful movesets rather than looking into all of them, or at least most of them, unlike Squidward and SpongeBob's showcase. I didn't see too much of Jimmy's movesets other than 3 or 4 important ones, rather than a whole list. He also didn't go into too much depth with the moveset buttons either. And don't get me wrong, he did a great job commentating the specific advantages of Jimmy's movesets, but I wish he would have touched base with more. Anyways, let's get into the showcase, shall we? First things first is probably the coolest mechanic in the game so far, and that is the player's ability to control Goddard when playing as Jimmy. Goddard can be summoned by hitting the down special button and is playable from that point. But his movesets are more limited than Jimmy's, and even though Jimmy can be vulnerable while the player controls Goddard, Goddard only takes 1 to 2 hits to be killed, so it's best to keep him near Jimmy or quickly switch back to Jimmy to whack off the opponents from dismantling Goddard. After summoning him with the down special button, the player has to once again tap the down special button to take control of Goddard. Goddard will also play dead when he touches a nearby opponent, no matter who it is. The control stick is also used for when the player wants to control Goddard in the air. For his laser beams, the player presses the charge attack, and for the chomp attack, just your regular button. Next up on the list is Jimmy's rocket launcher attack. Seriously, how spacious is this kid's backpack? Jimmy's neutral B is what will activate his rocket launcher. The rocket will also move accordingly to where the player moves their analog stick. Now, it's in this part of the video where we see more of Jimmy's movesets, but as I had mentioned earlier, they were never mentioned. So I will try to make out the attack buttons and the names of these movesets for the sake of clarity and theory, just in case I get the names right. For this moveset, Jimmy is shown to toss a tube of what looks to be hydrochloric acid. This move looks like it can be spawned by a right special attack or perhaps a light attack button. For the name, I would call it acidic splat. The next move here involves the boy genius using a robotic arm to jab forward. I would assume that this move is a side strong attack. This move's name would probably be Punch Out. This next move looks as if Jimmy is launching pyro-like explosives into the air. Assuming that this move looks like it wouldn't do as much damage, I would assume that this would be a light up attack. I think the name for this would be called Blast Off. This next move demonstrates Jimmy throwing what looks to be a pack of ice shards forward. In this case, this looks like a side strong attack. Now, I understand that I already mentioned that the side strong attack was when I was talking about the robotic arm punch, but this one is a bit difficult. Anyways, this moveset's name would be Shardsickles. The next one shows off Jimmy swinging his bat, though we can see that it looks like as if it can be charged up before using. My best guess is that this move would be a side charge attack. The best candidate for this attack's name would be Batter Up. Lastly, this next moveset shows Jimmy using his girl-eating plant to attack any upward opponent. This move looks like a strong up or up charged attack. The name? Ready for a bite? Now, what a surprising reveal, Jimmy is capable of melee combat as well as using his own bare hands to fight. I never really thought of Jimmy to be capable of physical combat given his character. It doesn't really fit him. Though, who would I be to judge what fits who, because Game Melt actually did well in proving me wrong here. His next function is his bubblegum mobile, as shown in the film Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. I don't know what button mechanic summons the bubblegum mobile, so it's best that I just keep this one to myself. A neat mechanic and comeback from the OG Nickelodeon era. Lastly, Jimmy's recovery jump is shown here, but as mentioned by the showcase's commenter, It is average at best. In other words, it's slow and vulnerable, but there are different methods you can use, as such as slime canceling or even using Goddard to help you reach to safety. And that, my friends, was my analysis of Jimmy Neutron's showcase for the upcoming Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. Seeing the multitude of weaponry and gadgets that Jimmy is capable of with such a limited use of buttons on an average controller, I'm quite optimistic to see how this will work. Last video I nearly praised Game Mill's hard work for developing the unique movesets for Squidward, but Jimmy Neutron is a whole different ballpark. Since we've never got a look at Jimmy's final smash, I guess the window's open to us all to see what that will look like. In terms of Jimmy's showcase, this is my new favorite one, and once again, I said the same thing about Squidward being my favorite, but before I finalize my decision of which character I'm most anticipated to main, I think it would be fair to analyze every character's moveset before I settle on my decision. Anyways, I think this boy genius and the geniuses behind this game are doing an amazing job, and I'm truly excited to see more future updates before we play this soon-to-be awesome game. Well guys, that is all I have for now, and I'm gonna head out, and I'll see you guys next time.